please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, let's go!
Hello everyone, welcome to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with a tweet from Oz Media. So I'm only just finding out about this, and I'm probably making a massive mistake by tweeting this. Apparently, behind the scenes, in a failed attempt at a restraining order back in June of last year, Blair is flat out lying and claiming I used to hit Casper. This is in a court-filed document. Thankfully, to my understanding, because I'm only just now finding out about this due to someone outside of both legal parties leaking these documents, this is outside of the main lawsuit, so I can quickly squash this publicly, unlike the other claims she's made against me in the legal system which I'm forced to wait on. Just food for thought. If I, God forbid, hurt Casper, why would Blair be in tears at the end of her original video stating she would miss our friendship and specifically how much of a best friend I was to Casper, with a timestamp included referencing Blair's video? Also, if this was fact, why is this entirely missing from her current lawsuit? Either Blair is lying here about my ABUSE towards Casper, or Blair is for some reason both in her lawsuit and her video, hiding information and only using it when convenient for her, like a failed restraining order. I've had to publicly bite my tongue on so many of the claims she's made in the legal system, but I can only take so much. Included is an image. We're going to read that as well. Remember people, Blair groomed a guy into being her indentured servant and made him homeless when he had enough, was emotionally and financially ABUSIVE to her partner, tried to ruin her old friends' careers with accusations of the predatory variety, and did her absolute best to use her position and platform to cause real-world harm on every single one of her victims. I stand with Blair victims. You are guilty, mediocre, and a burden on society, and those you ABUSED. I can't say that word, I'm not allowed, YouTube's funny about it. Did it make you feel strong to break down vulnerable people? Pray you are never vulnerable. And if Blair decided to go after and somehow succeed in shutting those two channels or other channels down, I have all the time in the world while unemployed, autistic with ADHD, and an extreme will for some disobedient effery to make an anti-Blair Zon channel. Everyone needs to tweet and email ExpressVPN to let them know to stop sponsoring Blair. The public opinion shift needs to extend to her sponsors in order for any real change to happen. FYI, ExpressVPN has dropped her. Keep fighting the good fight, she cannot get away with this. Blank would physically assault petitioner's dog during disputes with petitioner. It is my belief the video referenced is the Illuminati exposed video on the Illuminati channel. I'm not going to play any clips from that though, because I don't think you need to suffer through that. What we get from this, that is quite important, is that there was an attempt by Blair early on to get a restraining order put out, back when she had money and the ability to try and do this. Now it is unlikely to do so, and much like what Oz has referenced, we have to wait and respect the system to see what the result will be. As you will have known from more recent videos we have done on this channel, she is still attempting to change her story, embellish upon it. Her channel hasn't been active in a month, no doubt because she's in the process of focusing on this, but also burying her head in the sand, and recalibrating because she can't afford the staff anymore. The accusation of harming a dog is one that on the internet people take very seriously. In this instance, it comes across as a very desperate move to mention this when in the Illuminati exposed video, Illuminati spoke so highly of Oz and his interactions with Casper, caring for him and her after multiple surgeries and vet visits. This seems a bit contrary to what she had said in the video. I'll link the video with a timestamp if you're interested. Although to be honest, in her video, it's basically the Oz Media section. It has been cut up in the video description to explain the Oz Media part. That's all you need to hear. There are other parts before Sure with Wonder's dog as well, but that in the context of the Oz Media aspect isn't relevant. It should be pointed out that these being leaked, as others have pointed out, is state rather nasty and vile things and personal things about other parties, which are essentially irrelevant to the case of defamation because what she is trying to do, or what she had tried to do, and still is a little bit, is poison the well. She is trying to do that to undermine from other areas, if that makes sense, which you can also argue is a form of defamation. We should point out that this has actually worked to an extent. Ozmedia themselves put out a tweet saying, "There's a guy I banned from my comments section because he kept spam commenting under people's comments that I beat dogs." So now after that ban, he's going around to other comment sections of other creators and doing the same thing, or accusing me of hiding the truth, saying I can't take negative criticism, rinse and repeat. The man also bots comment likes and has like 20 alt accounts. It's really damn goofy. Reposted for formatting and whatnot. If he keeps it up, I'm going to make a list of all his alt accounts I know of just for public record. Also, this is definitely not Blair, just firmly stating this. I do get it that the channel of Illuminati is going down like a ship, but no one else has to go down with it, just the Illuminati. So next we're going to talk about Katie Price, the model more commonly known by the name of Jordan. She has over the years run the risk of, much like the tennis player Boris Becker, losing literally everything she owns because she's too dumb and doesn't know how to spend her money properly. So much so, she owes £750,000 in tax. For example, for 2 separate tax years, she owed £142,000 and £196,000, plus an additional £140,000 in VAT. She's also been charged with interest and late penalty fees. She has racked up debts over £3.2 million. Recently it was announced she was going to be paying 40% of all money she made on OnlyFans on tax bills to help alleviate this burden on her shoulders. At one point, she had a net worth over £15 million. She had a nice home that has now become the Mucky Mansion, and it is believed this £2 million home she owns could in fact be taken from her. A bankruptcy expert actually told one of the tabloids I'm citing that it would take exceptional circumstances for her to keep hold of her home after failing to comply with the terms of both bankruptcies. It would also mean that the earnings she's made in the years since she was declared bankrupt the first time in 2019 will also all be taken from her. She makes an estimated $2.2 million a year from OnlyFans, which obviously as she gets older is going to start going down at some point. The silly cowbag is so desperate to maintain a life that she can't realistically afford right now that she will happily continue to splash on luxury holidays and possessions, but not paying her tax bill. She's been visited by bailiffs who appear to take many of her cars to recoup $250,000 debt she owed her ex-husband. It is believed because she keeps breaking the terms of these bankruptcy rulings, she is going to face criminal proceedings similar to that of Boris Becker, because he hid assets worth about $2.5 million, and there's always the possibility she's trying to hide something, but she's not the smartest. What makes Katie Price unique is that within the space of 5 years she's managed to be declared bankrupt twice. In this country, that is beyond uncommon. What doesn't help Katie Price is that the moment this happened, this newer hearing ascertained that she owed more money, and wasn't paying anything back on time. She then went to her Instagram and posted a picture and a video of a brand new Porsche she had bought for £194,000. She hasn't even hired lawyers to defend her. I'm not entirely sure why that's the case, and if she does end up getting criminal proceedings, of course a halls of injustice would happen, solely because she keeps breaking the law and she still won't go to prison, whether it be for the multiple times she's been done for rather bad driving, stalking her ex-partner and threatening to assault her ex-partner's current partner. She's also defamed people. She's not very law-abiding, and for some odd reason her gigantic balloons on her chest must have done something to persuade people not to put her in a prison yet. I'm going to do an honourable mention to something I cannot show you because it concerns a polyamorous Brazilian couple who have taken their muscle flaunting to the what has been dubbed triple extreme. Do you remember a few weeks back we covered a influencer who went to the gym with her gym wear painted onto her body? Okay, well, remove the paint and you have a man and a woman who have gone with nothing on at all. One being Bella Mantovani and the other Wagner Ofera. They like to get swole in their birthday suits, and in fact they pay their gym extra to go to the gym for the privilege of being able to work out naked. I do hope it wouldn't surprise you to know that this couple also happen to have an OF page and on that page, which Google is not your friend if you want to see it, he's basically a beta cut, just saying. Evidence of this would include the fact that, well, this picture exists, for example. I can show this one at least, can't I? Now, they have, since starting this naked workout regime, or nude exhibitionist as it has been dubbed by the New York Post, lost between them £56. Congratulations. I personally, regardless of paying extra for the privilege of being able to do this, think it is remarkably unsanitary and should not be permitted, hence the honourable mentioned aspect of this. If you'd like to see proof of why I believe that to be the case, look at the article, it's linked down below. So next, an opinion piece on The Rock. The Rock is a harbinger of America's decline. He is the perfect, the hero for a sterile generation. Oh, sterile, that makes more sense because you guys are going that way after all, aren't you? As a steroidal colossus towering over his peers, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson bestrides the barren expanse of modern celebrity like no other. His influence is unrivaled, spanning the realms of professional wrestling, corporate behemoths, and as his brief cameo at this year's Oscar ceremony testified, even Hollywood. Yet beneath the superficial sheen of this success, one finds a paradox. Once celebrated for his originality and raw charisma, he has spent the past 2 decades navigating a career marked by sterile blandness, even in a marketplace brimming with astroturfed celebrities. Johnson's deliberate brand construction is remarkable. Unlike fellow ubiquitous megastars, he has managed to earn billions without generating even a single news cycle worthy of controversy, hot takes, and discourse. This is of course nothing to be sniffed at. You didn't really pay attention to the Hawaii thing, did you? That was fascinating. Or his rivalry with that of Vin Diesel and I believe Tyrese, was it? Him? Yeah, Gibson? Yeah, him. Johnson now showcases a fatless, hairless, and thoroughly hyper-masculine physique that far surpasses what he achieved in his youth, during his days as a college football player or as a young wrestling icon. Such hyperbolic musculature normally invites speculation, yet Johnson's vehement denial of steroid use has largely gone unquestioned. You never watched the Joe Rogan Experience, have you? Or literally anyone that looks at him and goes, "Which one's you taking, Bet? Do you by chance dine with Liver King?" Somehow, he is both the most jacked human to ever front action movies, and one of the least interrogated. Yes, people are afraid to because he'll clap back, but also because he is quite universally loved. It's difficult to go in on him and not get clarted for it. Although I do like his attempts to try and act tough, that's quite funny. Much like the contracts in his movies where he's not allowed to lose a fight or be hit X number of times. It's quite tragic, really, to maintain a facade. The next paragraph references the fact that his ability to solo draw at the cinema isn't that great. His most lucrative ventures be Fast and Furious, I'd also argue, and Jumanji, but that's not mentioned here. But then his failure of Black Adam, which wasn't necessarily a failure, it still made money, yeah. He's been in other movies that have failed a bit, can't be faulted. Not all careers are filled with successes, and to be honest, to build a decent career you need a few duds in there as well. The article continues by talking about how when he was a pro wrestler, in his early career especially, he was more vocal, charismatic, a character, whereas now he doesn't really stand for much. He doesn't define anything because he's always in motion, he's always working, he's always doing something. So who he is falls to the wayside. The part that I really like is the part where they talk about WrestleMania, where it says Johnson's engagement with his cultural identity in the wrestling world is driven by genuine connection, or, now that he serves on the board of the directors for TKO, which owns WWE, merely another role to be played in the grand narrative of a career devoted to the ruthless acquisition of money. Some might retort, Johnson is simply embracing a narrative of success, but this masks a deeper, more troubling reality. His evolution is emblematic of the rise of the hyper-manufactured star, devoid of any distinguishing features that could tether them to a definable identity or cultural lineage. And while it may prove lucrative, there are obvious pitfalls. His deliberate positioning as a post-racial, cross-genre juggernaut not only obscures his own cultural heritage, but also reinforces the problematic notion that true mainstream success requires a dilution of one's ethnic and cultural specificity. In striving to be all things to all people, Johnson inadvertently perpetuates a homogenized vision of celebrity that prioritizes palatability over authenticity. This could be reduced down quite well, can't it? To, oh look, someone puts on a face. It is possible though in the case of Johnson he is genuine. It is always possible that anyone is. What you're doing though is making a grander point about the WWE, for example, where everything has to be hyper-manufactured. Everything's micromanaged, and it was because of Vince. It was always that way. It was looser with the Attitude Era, because people weren't really given script when they showed they had the ability, and Dwayne has always had the ability. Dwayne, though, knows to be successful, to be credible, to be held in high regard, he has to be different. He has to be somewhat manufactured because he wants to be successful. He wants to be respected. He also wants to inspire people. He's not denying his cultural lineage. In fact, he's been very open about that. But at the same time, he does appeal to a wider market because he doesn't make it front and center of his identity. This article is disingenuous and frames much in the wrong way. Although you are right about the steroid use, I'll give you that.